Hello everyone, it's me Sanjay Vasu back again for another video. This time we're going to be doing it on Cambridge IGCSE Mathematics paper 4 for the extended May/June 2022. Let's start. Question 1. A. The list shows 15 midday temperatures in degrees Celsius in Suntown. 1. Complete the stem and leaf diagram to show this information. So 1/7 represents 17 degrees Celsius. Now we need to write from smallest to biggest. We have two 17s, another 7, and then two 18s, two 8s, two 19s, two 9s. So that's it. Now we go to the ones with 2 as the 10 digit. So there are 4 21s, 4 ones here. There's 122, two 23s, and 124 and 125. So there's 6 plus 9, 15 midday temperatures. 2, find the median. So the median's the middle. So out of 1 and 15, what's the mean of them? 1 plus 15 by 2, which is equal to 8. So the 8th object is the median. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 21 degrees Celsius. 3. Find the upper quartile. So that's actually the mean between the median and the highest number. So the median is 21, highest is 25. So 25 plus 21 by 2, which is equal to 46 by 2, which is 23 degrees Celsius. 4. Rahul draws a pie chart to show this information. Calculate the sector angle for a number of days. The temperature is 18 degrees. So that will be 2 by 15 into 360 degrees. Now let's get our calculator out. Here we go. 2 divided by 15 into 360 degrees becomes 48 degrees angle. B. 1. The box and whisker plot shows information about the masses in grams of some apples. 1. Finds the median. The median is always the line which is inside the box. In this case, this line. And this line actually shows 120 over there. So 120 gram is the median. 2. Find the range. So range means the difference between the least value and the highest value. So 40 and 170. So 170 minus 40 is equal to 130 grams. 3. Find the interquartile range. That's the differences between the two quartiles. So these two are actually the two quartiles, the edges of the box. There's 140 and 80. Now we can say 140 minus 80, which is equal to 60 grams interquartile range. That's the answer. See? 1. Time in T minutes spent on homework in 1 week by each of 200 students is recorded. The table shows the results, the time and the frequency over here. Calculate an estimate of the mean. So we'll take the middle of these, 50, 70, 85, 95, 125. These are all the medians of all of these 5 groups. Now there's 200 students. So that's the number of students. And the total value will be the sums of multiplying these two numbers. So that will be 50 into 6 plus 70 into 10 plus 85 into 70 plus 95 into 84 plus 125 into 30. And the whole thing by 200. That's equal to, let's get our calculator out. 50 into 6 is 300 plus 700 because 70 into 10 plus 85 into 70 is equal to that plus 95 into 84 plus 125 into 30. That's that value, and divide by 200, that's 93.4 minutes. That's the answer. 2. A new table with different class intervals is completed. On a histogram, the height of the bar for the 40 less than t less than equal to 90 interval is 17.2 centimeters. Calculate the height of the bar for 90 less than t less than equal to 150 interval. So first let's calculate using the formula height equals frequency by class width. So class width is the difference between lowest and highest number. Frequency is, well, the frequency. So that means height is equal to 86 by 90 minus 40, 50. And when you calculate, we get 1.72 centimeters. But then it's given in the question that the height is 17.2 centimeters. So that means the height is actually 1.72 into 10, 17.2. So we have to multiply the final result by 10 to get the height. Do the same thing for the other bar, which is this one. So height is equal to frequency by class width, which is 114 by 50 minus 90, 60. And then we need to multiply by 10 because we have to multiply to get the actual height. You can cancel out the zeros. And that means we get 114 by 6, which is 19 centimeters. That's the answer. Question 2. A. Alex, Bobby, and Chris share strawberries in the ratio Alex is to Bobby is to Chris equals 3 is to 2 is to 2. Chris receives 12 strawberries. Calculate the total number shared. So 3 is to 2 is to 2 means when we add all of this, we get 7 parts. 12 strawberries is 2 parts. So 12 strawberries equals 2 parts. 1 part equals 12 by 2, which is 6. That means 7 parts is equal to 6 into 7, which is equal to 42 strawberries. B. In a sale, a shop reduces all prices by 12%. 1. Dina buys a book which has an original price of $6.50. Calculate how much Dina pays for the book. This will be 100 minus 12 by 100 into 6.5. It's equal to 88% of 6.5. Let's get that calculator out. 0.88 into 6.5. 572. That's the answer. $5.72. 2. Elu pays $11 for a toy. Calculate the original price of the toy. So the original price is 11 divided by 0.88. Let's do that. 11 divided by 0.88. 12.5. And we can write that in dollars, $12.50. Now let's move on to 2C. Fabi invests some money. The rate of interest for the first year is 2.5%. And at the end of the second year, the overall percentage increase of Fabi's investment is 6.6%. Find the rate of interest for the second year. So first we need to find the difference between the rate of interest for first and second years. So the rate of interest means an increase, which is 100 plus the two values here. So that means to find the difference of it, we need to find 106.6% minus 102.5%. Because we add 100 with these two percentage values and then subtract. This will be 4.1%. But then we need to find the rate of interest for only the second year. So that means we need to make it by the first year's percentage. So the difference, 4.1% by 102.5%, multiply by 100 to make it a percentage. And then when we do this on a calculator, 4.1 divided by 102.5, and then multiply by 100, we get 4%. 4% interest. That's the answer. Let's move on to part D. A radioactive substance decays at an exponential rate of 2% per day. The initial mass is 80 grams. 1. Find the mass at the end of 5 days. This is compound decay. So do you remember the formula for compound interest? We just need to add initial mass minus that one. So the mass at the end is equal to I, initial mass, but it's multiplied by an amount which makes it smaller. So that amount is the percentage which is subtracted from 100 into 1 minus R by 100 to the power of D, days. And R is the percentage value. So M is equal to 80 into 1 minus 2 by 100 to the power of 5. Let's use a calculator. 1 minus 0.02, 0.98 to the power 5 is this value, and multiply by 80. M is equal to 72.31 grams. That's the answer. 2. Find how many whole days after day 5 it takes for the mass to reduce to less than 67 grams. So let's take it to be equal to 67 grams. That means it'll take more days than that time to go to less than 67 grams. Using the logic, we can use the same formula. M equals I into 1 minus R by 100 to the power D. This means the mass is 67 grams. 80 into 1 minus 2 by 100 to the power D. So we can take 1 minus 2 by 100 as 0.98. So that means 67 by 80 equals 0.98 to the power D. Let's get our calculator out. 67 divided by 80, we'll find that in decimal. 0.8375. Now that we need to put 0.98 to a certain power to get 0.8375. Now we can also say that it can be less than or equal to. Because as I said at the start, the mass needs to reduce to less than 67 grams. Yes, it's not be equal to 67, to be less than 67. So that's to be less than or equal to this value. Now what's the closest value of D which makes it less than or equal to this? That will be the answer. Take a calculator, 0.98, and make it to the power of 9, we get 0.8337 dot dot dot, which means it goes out. So 0.98 to the power 9 is equal to 0.8337, which is less than 0.8375. So the answer will be 9 days. But we need to see how many more days, not the total amount, how many more after day 5. So we need to subtract 5 days, which makes 4 days. That's the answer. Question 3. A. Geeta buys X apples, X plus 7 oranges, and 2X minus 1 bananas. The total number of pieces of fruit Geeta buys is 30. 1. Find the number of apples that Geeta buys. So X plus 7 plus 2X minus 1 is equal to 30. 4X plus 6 is equal to 30. 4X equals 24. X is equal to 6. So that's the number of apples because X apples. 2. The cost of one apple is 15 cents. The cost of one orange is 18 cents. The total cost is $5.55. Find the cost in cents of one banana. So 6 apples means 6 into $0.15, which is equal to $0.90. And now there will be 6 plus 7, 13 oranges into $0.18, 18 cents. Choose a calculator. $2.34. Now we can do 5.55 minus 2.34 minus 0.90. We can do that. 5.55 minus 2.34 minus 0.90. We get $2.31. 2x minus 1 means 11 bananas. So 11 bananas means 2.31 by 11. That's the cost of one banana. $0.21, which is 21 cents. That's the answer. B1. Solve 3w by 16 minus 1 equals half. That means 3w by 16 is equal to half plus 1, which is 1.5. So w equals 1.5 into 16 by 3. Cancel out, which is equal to 8. 2. 3 into 2 to the power of minus y by 16 minus 1 is half. Now we need to find the value of y. Corresponding to the previous equation, 2 to the power of minus y equals w. So 2 to the power of minus y equals 8. 2 to the power of 3 is equal to 8. So minus y equals 3 and y is equal to minus 3. C1. Solve the simultaneous equations. 2p plus q is equal to 2. P minus q is equal to negative half. Let's add both of these equations. 2p plus q equals 2. P minus q equals minus half. Let's add both of them. 3p is equal to 1.5. P is equal to half. Half minus q equals minus half. Q is equal to half plus half, which is equal to 1. So P is half and Q is 1. 2. Hence, for 0 degrees less than or equal to U, less than or equal to 360 degrees, and 0 degrees less than or equal to V, less than or equal to 360 degrees, solve the simultaneous equations. 2 sine U plus cos V equals 2. Sine U minus cos V equals minus half. One thing we can see, the similarity between this simultaneous equation and the previous one in the C1, we can see that the coefficients and the constants are all the same. There's a coefficient 2 in both of them in the same place, and the constants are still the same. Only the variables have been changed, and there's also sine and cos added to it. So we can simply write that P is equal to sine U and Q is equal to cos V, because they are practically the same equation with different variables. So P equals sine U and Q equals cos V. Now we found out P and Q already, which means sine U equals half. And we also found Q, so cos V equals 1. But then, how do we find two different values? It's given over here in the place where we need to write the answer that there are two different values for each variable. So I will explain this to you by drawing a simple sine graph like this. So I'll draw y-axis here and an x-axis here. I'm only showing positive coordinates, so I've drawn that. Now I'll make the x-axis as x degrees and the y-axis as sine x. So I'll put 0, half, 1 in sine, and then I'll make it 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. I'm just going to draw the sine graph, sine wave over here. But for drawing that, we also need negative coordinates down there. So we'll make minus half and minus 1 there. And now we can draw a very simple sine wave, like a sketch, not an exact value. And I will draw it like this. I know it's not that accurate because you can see minus 1 does not exactly touch the wave. So This is just a sketch, just remember that. And actually, this is just for explanation. It's not necessary to do this if you're writing the question on your own. We see over here we have sine u equals half, cos b equals 1. So this is the sine graph. I'll draw the cos graph in a minute. We see over here the sine graph, and we see we need the half value. So we'll take half value over here using a straight line from the half point. So there are 2 points where the half value could be there. So sine x equals half has 2 solutions. And in reality, if you do a sine inverse to this, u equals sine inverse of half, which is equal to, you will get 30 or 150 degrees. Because, let's take a calculator out for explanation. So when we take sine of 30, we get 0.5, half. When we take sine of 150, we get 0.5, also half. So this graph basically represents how you find a sine inverse as well, not just a sine. So these values are the answers of sine inverse of half. So you can do the same thing for cos. V is equal to cos inverse of 1. And actually, when we take that 1 cos inverse, we only get 0 over here. But then there's another value. I'll draw a cos graph now to show you how, or at least to explain. So I'm also going to draw these coordinates, positive and negative, for cos x, which are 1, half, 0, minus half, and minus 1. And I'll make 90, 180, 270, 360 for x degrees. To draw a cos graph, we just take the sine graph over here and push it 90 degrees to the left. You can see. So this point at 90 degrees will instead be 0 degrees. And something like that. So when we draw the graph, it will actually look like this, where 90 and 270 has a smooth curve, and then it goes like this. Yes, I know this is not a smooth curve here, but this is just a sketch drawing, and if this was a straight curve which is smooth, that means this would be the cos x graph. And over here, let's take cos x equals 1. We can see when we draw a line, we get a value at 0, but we get it at the other side as well, which is all the way at the end, 360. So we can also write the second value as 360. I'll give you why, because when we take cos of 360, we will get 1. I'll show you here, 360, and we take a cosine of it is 1. So now we found the two values for each of these. For u, it's 30 degrees and 150 degrees. And for v, it's 0 degrees and 360 degrees. That's the answer. Question 4. F of x equals 2x minus 1, g of x equals 3x minus 2, h of x equals 1 by x, j of x equals 5 power x. A. Find 1 f of 2. F of 2 is equal to 2 into 2 minus 1, which is equal to 3. 2 gf of 2, that means g of 3, so that's equal to 3 into 3 minus 2, which is equal to 7. B. Find g inverse of x. So what we do is we replace g inverse of x with x and x with y. And we make this as y as the subject. Doing this value, y is equal to x plus 2 by 3. That means g inverse of x will also be x plus 2 by 3. C. Find x when h of x equals j of negative 2. So j of negative 2 equals 5 to the power negative 2, which is equal to 1 by 5 squared, which is equal to 1 by 25. That's equal to h of x. That means 1 by x equals 1 by 25. X equals 25. D. Find f of x minus h of x as a single fraction. That means it will be 2x minus 1 minus 1 by x. That's equal to 2x squared minus x by x minus 1 by x. It's equal to 2x squared minus x minus 1 by x. That's the answer. E. Find the value of jj of 2. So j is equal to 5 power x. So jj of 2. So we do j first. 5 power 2. J of 2 is 5 power 2, which is equal to 25. J of 2 is equal to 5 to the power 25. I'm just gonna calculate out. 5 to the power 25. It's a huge number. So you can write it as 2.98 into 10 to the power 17. That's why it's written in the calculator E17. That's the answer. F. Find x when j inverse of x is equal to 4. So you know that j inverse of x is equal to 4. So when you bring this j inverse to the other side, it'll become j. So that means j of 4 will be equal to x. So j of 4 will be equal to x. And now we need to find out what is the function for j. So when you go back and see, j of x is equal to 5 to the power of x. So that means j of 4 is equal to 5 to the power of 4. That's equal to x. So that means x is equal to 5 power 4, which is 625. That's the answer. Question 5. A. ABCDEFGH is a regular octagon with sides of length 6 centimeters. The diagram shows part of the octagon. O is the center and M is the midpoint of AB. 1a. Show that the angle at OAM is 67.5 degrees. So one thing you need to realize is these triangles, these huge triangles, they will always be the same no matter what side you choose to make the triangle with. That means these two angles will always be the same no matter what. So if we find out the interior angle of the octagon and we divide by 2, then we will get this angle OAM, which we need. So the interior angle of the octagon, we can find it by finding the exterior angle and then subtracting 180 by that number. First we find the exterior angle using 360 by n. In this case, n is the number of sides, which is 8. So you get 45 degrees. And then that's the exterior angle. And that means we can find the interior angle. That'll be equal to 180 minus 45, which is equal to 135 degrees. And then what about the angle OAM? That'll be 135 by 2 because these two angles will be equal, which will be 67.5 degrees. That's the answer. Angle OAM over here is 67.5 degrees. B. Calculate the area of the full octagon. So to calculate this, we can actually find it using the areas of 8 times of this size triangles, because these triangles will be the same for all the 8 sides. It'll go on like that. So for 8 sides, there'll be 8 triangles of this size, and this size triangles have 2 smaller sized congruent triangles there. So we need 16 of this size triangles, the size of triangle OAM. I'll just highlight the triangle which we are using. So we're going to use triangle OAM, find the area of it and multiply by 16 because that's how many triangles of this size are there in the octagon. So first thing we need to do is we need to find out the length of AM, which is the base, and MO, which is the height. To find AM, we know that AB has a full length of 6 centimeters because it's the side of the octagon. So we can say AM, that'll be equal to 6 by 2 because M is the midpoint. That'll be 3 centimeters. So you can write AM equals 3 centimeters up there. Now we need to find the side length of OM. How do we do that? Well, we can see that this is right angle triangle. That means we can apply trigonometric rules to find this side. So we have an angle and we have the adjacent. So you can find the opposite side using the tangent formula. So tan x is equal to opposite by adjacent. So now x in this case is the angle, which is 67.5 degrees, will be opposite, which is OM, by 3. So that means OM will be 3 into tan of 67.5 degrees. Let's do that on our calculator. So 67.5, and we make the 10, and we multiply it by 3 to get 7.2426 in centimeters. So OM side length will be 7.2426 centimeters. Let's write that. So now we found the base and the height of the triangle OAM. Now we can find the area of it, and then we can multiply by 16 to get the area of the octagon. So the area of octagon, or OCT for short, will be 16 multiplied by half BH, which is half into 3 centimeters, multiplied by 7.2426. So let's do that on our calculator. 7.2426 multiplied by 3, and then we divide by 2, multiply by 16. So it will be 173.8 centimeters squared, approximate to 1 decimal place. And that is the answer to this question. And now let's move to the second part of B, which is to find the area of the circle that passes through the vertices of the octagon. So that means you need to find the area of the circle where all of the points on the octagon, or the vertices on the octagon, are also some points, equally distant points, on the circumference of the same circle. So because the distance between the center and one of the vertices is the radius, we can find this side and take that as the radius to find the area of the circle. But how do we find this side? Well, once again we can realize that this triangle is a right angle triangle because this is 90 degrees. So we take the Pythagoras theorem. Because we have two sides, we can find the third side by doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That means 7.2426 squared plus 3 squared is equal to c squared. So c squared will be, let's get our calculator out, for 7.2426 squared. So we'll get 52.45525476. Add 9. So we leave it as c squared. I'll tell you why in a few moments. It'll be 61.45525476 because when we add 9 to this, we get this value here. So now let's go ahead and find the area of the circle. So now to find the area of the circle, we get pi r squared as the area of the circle. Now we can replace this r with a c because c is the side of the right angle triangle, which is actually OA, or it's the hypotenuse. So pi into c squared, which will be, because we know what c squared is, we found it just now, 61.45525476. So we found this value. So that means we can simply multiply this value by pi. So when we do that, we get approximately 193.07 centimeters squared. That's the answer. B. The diagram shows a horizontal container for water with a uniform cross-section. The cross-section is a semicircle. The radius of the semicircle is 0.45 meters, and the length of the container is 4 meters. 1. Calculate the volume of the container. So the area of the semicircle will be pi r squared by 2. And then we multiply by L, length of cross section. It's equal to pi into 0.45 squared by 2 into 4. Let's use a calculator. 0.45 squared into pi divided by 2 into 4. It's equal to 1.2723 meters cubed, which I shall write as 1.27 meters cubed. Now let's move on to part 2. The greatest depth of the water in the container is 0.3 meters, as given over here. The diagram shows the cross section. Calculate the number of liters of water in the container. Give your answer correct to the nearest integer. So now we can see that this part, which is the shaded part plus the non-shaded part, it's actually a semicircle, which is the one given in part A over here. And this, though, the shaded part is not a semicircle. We need to realize that, because this length is 0.3 meters, the depth, but then this length is not the same length as 0.3 meters. So that means it's not a semicircle. So we can find out the area of this cross section by finding the area of the semicircle and subtracting the non-shaded area. But how do we find the non-shaded area? Let's divide this non-shaded area into 4 parts, like this. So you can divide it into 2 sectors. These are sectors because this place is curved, this side, and now there are 2 triangles as well. So these are 4 parts in the unshaded area. So we know that these 2 dotted lines are the radius of the circle. So I'll just mark that, which is 0.5 meters over here. And this length, small length over there, is 0.45, which is this full length, minus 0.3, which is 0.15 meters. So now we know that these 2 triangles are actually right-angled triangles. So that means you can use the Pythagoras theorem to find out the third side over here, which will be the base of the 2 triangles. This is the height. So using the Pythagoras theorem, we can say that the missing side, that will be a squared, and then we add 0.15 squared, we get 0.45 squared. So that means a squared will be 0.45 squared minus 0.15 squared. Let's do this on our calculator. Here we are. 0.45 squared minus 0.15 squared, which is equal to 0.18. So a will be equal to the square root of 0.18. And when we manipulate the third, so this will be root of 18 by 100, which means the root of 18 by the root of 100. That means we'll have the root of 18 by 10, because 10 is the root of 100. And then we can make it as root of 9 into root of 2 by 10. That'll be 3 root 2 by 10. So we can write a is equal to 3 root 2 by 10. We'll keep it like this for now. By the way, this length is in meters. So now we need to find the angle of the sectors. But before we do that, I'm just going to point out one thing. In this semicircle full thing, if we take the unshaded area, we can see that if we divide by this line, these two parts which we formed are actually equal. They're the same area. So we can find the area of one part and multiply by 2 to get the area of both of the parts. But first we need to find the area of that one part using the angle of the sector. We can find the triangle's area, but we need to find the sector's area as well. But we can use the fact that these two are parallel lines and this is a transversal. So if we find this small angle there, it will be the same thing as that because of alternate angles. So we can use our trigonometry formulas for that. And in this case, to find this angle using these two sides over here, we have the angle, hypotenuse and opposite, so you can use the sine formula. So sine x will be equal to, so that means we just have to make it as opposite by hypotenuse, which is 0.15 by 0.45. So that'll be 1 by 3. So x will be sine inverse of 1 by 3. Let's do that in our calculator. Let's do the sine inverse, which is 19.4712. And this is in degrees. So this angle is over here at 19.47 degrees. Now we can find out the area of the unshaded part. So the area of unshaded part, that will be equal to 2 into the area of the triangle plus the area of the sector. So the area of the sector is the angle 19.47 degrees by 360 and then multiplied by pi r squared, which is pi into the radius 0.45 squared, and we add that with the area of the triangle, which is half into 3 root 2 by 10. That's the base, and the height is 0.15. So when we find the area of the unshaded region, we can get 19.47 divided by 360, which is this value, multiplied by 0.45 squared, and then multiplied by pi, which is this value. And then we add half into 3 into root 2 divided by 10 and then multiply by 0.15. That's equal to this value, 0.0662, and then when you multiply the full thing by 2, we get 0.13245, and that's in meters squared. So this will be 0.13245 meters squared. I'll write it over here as well. 0.13245 meters squared. Now we can find the area of the shaded region by finding the full area of the semicircle and subtracting this value. So the shaded area will be 0.45 squared into pi, of course, to find the area of the circle, and divide by 2 for semicircle. So when we do that, and then subtract this by 0.13245, I'll write the answer down there. So 0.45 squared into pi divided by 2, we get this value minus 0.13245. That'll be equal to 0.18563 meters squared. And then when we find the full volume in centimeters cubed, so we need to multiply this cross-section area by 4. So when you multiply it by 4, that will be equal to this value, 0.74254. And then to get in centimeters cubed, so when you multiply by 4, we get this value, meters cubed. And that'll be when you multiply it by 100 3 times, because 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. And it's a cube value, so that happens. So this is equal to 742,545. 742,545 milliliters or centimeters cubed. They were the same thing. So that'll be 742.5 liters when we divide by 1000. So we can round it up to 743 liters. That's the answer. Question 6. A. The diagram shows the graph of y equals f of x for minus 1.5 less than equal to x less than equal to 5. 1. Find f of 2. That means we need to find when f of 2. That means when x is 2. So when x is 2, y is equal to minus 3. So f of 2 is equal to minus 3. 2. Solves the equation f of x equals 0 for minus 1.5 less than equal to x less than equal to 5. So that means y is equal to 0. When y is equal to 0, it will be over here. So there are 3 values there. So there's one value here, one value there, one value there. First is x equals minus 1. Second one is x equals 1.6. Third one is x equals 4.4. So these are 3 values, minus 1, 1.6, and 4.4. 3. F of x equals k has 3 solutions for minus 1.5 less than equal to x less than equal to 5, where k is an integer. Find the smallest value of k. So we need to find the smallest value of k where there are 3 possible answers. So we can see that this curve ends at minus 8.2. So this is actually the area where there is 2 points. The lowest place with 2 points on it. Now we needed 3 points though. Because this is the bottom of the curve, we can take it a bit above the bottom and we'll get 3. On the minus 8 layer, there's 1, 2, and 3 on the other side. So there are 3 points on minus 8. This is the smallest value. 4. On the grid, draw a line y equals mx so that f of x equals mx is exactly one solution for minus 1.5 less than equal to x less than equal to 5. That means that when these two intersect, when this graph here and the imaginary line we're going to draw, when they intersect, there's only one solution, at least inside this range of values. If we look at this, y equals mx, that means there's no plus c over here. Usually the graph formula is y equals mx plus c. That means if there's no plus c, there will be no y-intercept, so it will practically just be 0. So it has to cross the origin. We can make an extremely steep line which goes like this. Something like that. I did not draw it properly, but still. Something like that. It'll only pass through the point around there. So we could draw a line starting from minus 1, 10, going to the origin, and then going to 1, 10. So we can go like this. It's quite a steep line, but this line can show that this is the only point where you can find a solution. So the point is x equals 0.6, y equals 6.2. So this is actually the line of y equals 10x. That's the answer. B. Y equals 3x squared minus 12x plus 7. 1. Find the value of dy by dx when x is equal to 5. So we first find dy by dx. This is the derivative. To do this, we have to subtract 1 from the power and then multiply the coefficient with the power. That becomes a coefficient. So this one, 3 into 2 is 6. 6x to the power 1, which is 6x, minus 12, because when we take this 12x That means it's minus 12x to the power 1. 1 minus 1 becomes 0. So when it becomes 0, that means the x is cancelled out. Only 12 remains. And this one will be completely cancelled since it does not have an x. So that means it'll be 6 into 5 minus 12, which is equal to 30 minus 12, which is 18. That's the answer. 2. Find the coordinates of the point on the graph y equals to bx squared minus 12x plus 7, where the gradient is 0. Part 2. Find the coordinates of the point on the graph of y equals 3x squared minus 12x plus 7, where the gradient is 0. Now to find this, we can say that dy by dx equals 0. That means 6x minus 12 equals 0. 6x equals 12, x equals 2. Now we can substitute this to find y. Y equals 3 into 2 squared minus 12 into 2 plus 7. And let's plug this into the calculator, and if you do that, you get minus 5. That's the answer. See, when y equals 2x to the power b plus qx to the power 2, dy by dx equals 14x to the power 6 plus 6x. Find the value of p and q. So that means 2x to the power p, and we do dy by dx of this, we get 14x to the power 6. That means only when p is equal to 7, this will be able to come as the dy by dx. So that means p is equal to 7. Because when you put 7 minus 1 equals 6 over here, and then we multiply 2 into 7, which is equal to 14 over here. Now for the second one, dy by dx of qx squared is equal to 6x. That means 2 into something is equal to 6. What do we get? Q is equal to 3. So P is equal to 7, Q is equal to 3. If you want to work it out, when Q is 3, 2 minus 1 equals 1, power 1. 3 into 2 is equal to 6. 6x to the power 1 is equal to 6x. That's the answer. Question 7. A. Calculate angle ACD. So because we have 3 sides of a triangle, we can use cosine rule, which means that we know we need to find this angle, so we take the side opposite to that angle, 9, we square it. That side squared is equal to the sum of the other 2 sides squared minus 2 into the other 2 side lengths multiplied by cos of the angle A, or in this case angle ACD. That means 81 is equal to 144 plus 196 minus, let's use the calculator, 2 into 12 into 14. So that's 336 cos ACD. Now, when we do 144 plus 196, it will be 340. That means 336 cos angle ACD is equal to 340 minus 81, which is equal to 259 degrees. So cos of angle ACD is equal to 259 by 336, which is equal to 0.771 to 3 decimal places. So angle ACD is equal to the cos inverse of this value. So we get 39.57 degrees. That's the answer. B. Show that BC equals 7.05 kilometers. Correct your 2 decimal places. We know the sine rule also. The sine rule states that side A by sine A is equal to B by sine B, which means side B divided by angle opposite of side B, sine. That means that 14 by sine 123 is equal to the side BC by opposite side, which is sine 25. Let's do this. 14 divided by sine 123 is equal to that, 16.69 approximately, BC by sine 25, which is 0.423. That means BC equals 16.69 into 0.423. Let's do this. It's equal to approximately 7.05 kilometers. That's the answer. C. Calculate the shortest distance from B to AC. So we have the point B and we have line AC. So we need to find the shortest distance, which means a straight line perpendicular to line AC. So now we have the side of BC, 7.05, and we know that this is perpendicular. So we can find this side because this is a right angle triangle. We have an angle and we have the side length. So which trigonometric formula links the hypotenuse and the opposite? Because this angle is the one we're concerned about, so this is opposite to that angle. It's the sine formula. So you can write that sine of 32 degrees is equal to the side length x, which is the distance from B to AC, by the hypotenuse, 7.05 kilometers. Let's find what sine 32 is, which is 0.53 is equal to x by 7.05. X equals 7.05 into 0.53. Let's do that. That's equal to 3.74 kilometers. That's the answer. D. Calculate the length of the straight line BD. So where's the line BD? It's this line. Let's first draw that imaginary line BD. Now we have this angle 39.57 degrees from part A over here. That means that the full angle will be equal to 71.57 degrees. So now we know two sides and one angle of the full triangle. So you can use cosine rule to find out the last one. Because the angle is opposite to the side, we know that this side is the one we need to find. So BD squared is equal to 12 squared plus 7.05 squared minus 2 into 12 into 7.05 into the cos of 71.57 degrees. So BD is equal to the square root of the full thing. So that's 144 plus, let's get that calculator out, 7.05 squared, 49.7025 minus 24 into 7.05, because 12 into 2 is 24. That means 169.2 into cos of 71.57. So we can do that as well. 71.57 cos. Cosine is 0.32 approximately. Now BD is equal to the square root of 144 plus 49.7025 is equal to 193.7025 minus 169.2 into 0.32, which is equal to 54.144. That's equal to square root of 193.7025 minus 54.144, which is equal to square root of 139.5585, and that will be equal to 11.8 kilometers. That's the answer. E. C is due east of A. Finds the bearing of Z from C. That means that we can make a north line here. We need to find this angle over here. Now let's erase some unwanted markings. We'll leave this one alone because we already have that value. We just need to find this one and then we have the full bearing. So we just need to find the bearing of B from C. We know that this angle here is 90 degrees and this is 32 degrees. So angle BCN is equal to 122 degrees. That means the reflex angle BCN is equal to 360 minus 122, which is equal to 238 degrees. Now we can add 71.57 to that. So the bearing of D from C equals 238 plus 71.57 degrees. We get the answer as 309.57 degrees. That's the answer. Question 8. A. Use set notation to describe the shaded region in the Venn diagram. So this region is actually the intersection between circles A and B. That's how it's said. And to write this is the intersection symbol and between the two circles A and B. That's the answer. 2. Shade the correct region in each Venn diagram. So Q union of P prime. So P prime is everything outside P. And if we have Q union of it, we take everything outside P except for this part, which is also inside Q. That's what this means. So let's just color this in yellow. And this is the answer. And now for a second one. K union L intersection M prime. That means everything inside K and L intersection of M prime. So everything inside KLL plus everything outside M. So we take that out. There's only a binocular shaped section left, which I shall shade in yellow again for clarity. In the exam, remember that these yellow parts should not be included. It should only be inside the circles here. You need to be precise with your shading in the exam. That's the answer. B. The diagram shows 11 cards. One of these cards is chosen at random. Write down the probability that it's not A. That means that everything except the A's. Cancel that out. There'll be 9 cards which are not A's. So that means it'll be 9 out of 11. Part 2. A card is chosen at random from these 11 cards and then replaced. A second card is chosen at random. Find the probability that exactly one card has the letter N. This means that the probability for letter N in one time of choosing the card is 2 out of 11. So the probability that exactly one card out of 2 has the letter N means like a first card must come like this and the second card must be something else, or the first card comes something else and the second card must come N. The probability of N is 2 by 11. Probability of anything else is 9 by 11. That means it'll be 2 by 11 into 9 by 11 plus 9 by 11 into 2 by 11. That's equal to 36 by 121. That's the answer. 50 students were asked if they like English and they like mathematics. 3 say they do not like English or mathematics. 33 say they like English. 42 say they like mathematics. 1. Complete the Venn diagram. First thing we know that 3 does not like any of them, so 3 is over there, outside. Now we need to make the remainder of this add up to 47. which means the people in English plus the people in math are 47. The center value will be counted in English and math. So if we add this up, we get 75. And then minus 47, we get 28. So 28 people like both. And then after that, there'll be 33 minus 28, 5 people who like English, and 42 minus 28, 14 who like mathematics. So when we add it, 47, and then add 3, 50. That's the answer. Now let's go to part 2. A student is chosen at random. Find the probability that the student likes English and likes mathematics. So there are 28 people who like both English and maths, and there's a total of 50 students in the group. So this will be 28 by 50. That's the answer. Now 3. 2 students are chosen at random. Find the probability that they both like mathematics. So what's the probability that one person likes mathematics? That is 28 plus 14, because that's in the M circle. So that's 42, and divide by a total number, which is 50. So that's for one person. But now we've already selected one person. So for a second person, we need to minus 1 from both sides, because one person is out of the group. So we multiply this by 41 by 49. Now we can simplify this fraction. Make this as 6, make this as 7, and then we can divide like this. 25 and 3. So 3 into 41 will be 123, and divide by 25 into 7, which is 175. That's the answer. 4. 2 students who like English are chosen at random. Find the probability that they both also like mathematics. So we know that they like English. That means we can discard the rest of the people who don't like English. So there's only 5 plus 28, 33 people. So the probability that they both also like mathematics, that means 28. So that means the first person, let's say one person, 28 by 33, because if they like mathematics, and we know they like English, so if they like mathematics, that's the question. So only 33 is the denominator. And now for a second person, remember what we did last time? We subtracted 1 from both sides. Do the same thing, because one person's out already. So the second one is 27 by 32. Now we can simplify the fraction. So this becomes 7, this becomes 8. And now we can simplify these two sides, which is 9 and 11. So 7 by 11 into 9 by 8. 7 into 9 is equal to 63, and 11 into 8 is 88. That's the answer, 63 by 88. Question 9a. The area of a rectangle, which is this one, is 29 centimeters square greater than the area of the square. Difference between the perimeters is k centimeters. Find the value of k. You must show all your working. So x minus 1 into 2x plus 1 is equal to x squared plus 29. Because we need to add 29 to the square's area to get the rectangle. So this means 2x squared plus x minus 2x minus 1 is equal to x squared plus 29. 2x squared minus x minus 1 equals x squared plus 29. That means x squared minus x minus 30 is equal to 0. We can solve this, and when we solve it, we get x minus 6 and x plus 5. So that means x equals 6 or x equals minus 5. Because this function evaluates as 0. So x can be 6 or x can be minus 5. But then we need to take out minus 5 because length cannot be negative. So x is equal to 6. Now that means the length of the rectangle is 6 minus 1, 5 centimeters. The width of the rectangle will be 13 centimeters. And these two will be 6 centimeters. If we check the area, this is 65. This is 36. When we add 29 to 36, we get 65. So it's correct. Now we need to find perimeter. So the perimeter of square is equal to 6 into 4, 24 centimeters. And the perimeter of rectangle is equal to 13 plus 5 into 2, which is equal to 36 centimeters. So the difference is equal to 36 minus 24, which is equal to 12 centimeters. So K is equal to 12. That's the answer. B. The volume of the larger cube over here is 5 centimeters cube greater than the volume of the smaller cube. And the side length of the larger cube is y plus 1 centimeters. Smaller cube is y centimeters. So 1, show that 3y squared plus 3y minus 4 is equal to 0. So we know that y plus 1, the whole cube, is equal to y cubed plus 5. Because you have to add 5 to the smaller cube's volume to get the bigger cube's one. So now what's the formula for a plus b, the whole cubed? It's actually a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. So we do that, y cubed plus 3y squared plus 3y plus 1. That's equal to y cubed plus 5. So when we bring this y cubed plus 5 to the other side, y cubes will cancel out, and 1 minus 5 is negative 4. So 3y squared plus 3y minus 4 equals 0. And that's it, because we have shown that this is true because of the statement given in the question. That's the answer. 2. Find the volume of the smaller cube. Show all your working and give your answer to 2 decimal places. So now let's solve this equation first. So let's use the quadratic formula. So that means y is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b squared minus 4ac by 2a. So that'll be equal to minus 3, because 3, positive 3 is b. By the way, a is also positive 3 and c is negative 4 actually. So minus 3 plus or minus root of 3 squared minus 4 into 3 into minus 4, and then by 2 into 3. So that'll be equal to, when we get our calculator out, now let's just do this. So 3 squared is 9, and because there are 2 minuses, they cancel out, so we can do 4 into 3 into 4. 4 into 3 into 4, that's equal to 48. And then add 9, 57. So you need to do minus 3 plus root 57 by 2 into 3, which is 6. Or minus 3 minus root 57 by 6. So let's do this. So let's take the square root of this, and then subtract 3, and then divide by 6. So we get 0.7583, or let's take the other side, minus 3 minus the square root of 57, which is equal to this, divide by 6. We get minus 1.7583. But we only take the positive value because length cannot be negative, right? So we take 0.7583 in centimeters. That's equal to y. So now the volume of the smaller cube, y cubed, is equal to 0.7583 cubed. And when we do that, let's go to our calculator. We get 0.436, and it just goes on like that. So it's 0.44 centimeters cubed to 2 decimal places. That's the answer. And with that, I come to the end of my video. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, share this video with your friends and family, and comment on how you think this video was. With that, it's me, Sanjay Vasu, signing out. Thank you. Bye.